number 2. What we'll do here is just go over quick tuning of your PC or Mac and explain how to use the 4-octave keyboard here and in the next panel. So what we'll do is the same thing we did in the first video. And by the way, you should, or maybe would want to, go back, rewatch the first video, and when I do open up these panels and put in my beats, just pause the video right about here, grab your pencil tool, open up this panel, draw in the same pattern that I have, use the same kit that I used, and you'll have exactly what I have, and use the same tempo. And we can follow along and do this together so that it's nice and easy for you. What I want you to understand is tuning your PC or your Mac. What we do in this app is, even though it's cheap to buy, even though it's very easy to use, we're getting a little bit of hate because it does do a lot of what the bigger DAWs do. And what I want you guys to do is look at this as more of a over-the-top beat maker than an underdeveloped full-scale DAW, because you'll never replace a $50,000 studio with a $29 or $30 or $100 even software app. But we've packed in as much as we can here. We utilize broadcast quality sound. It's not MP3, it's 44 one-way stereo 16-bit. So for every bar, right here's 2 bars that we've drawn in. For every half of this, there's 16 slots for you to put in a variation of 10 sounds over each other. So even right here, that's a bunch of memory and a bunch of big files and data being called. Spread that across 8 bars times 16 tracks. Yes, you're going to have some lag if your PC isn't tuned. Yes, it will freeze on you if your PC isn't tuned, or if it's a really, really old, crappy machine. You have to understand that we do use broadcast quality files. You would want to at least try to get your PC or your Mac optimized for great studio use. So again, Google Tune My PC for audio, Tune My PC for music production, Tune My PC for rich media production, and follow the tutorials to make sure that your PC or Mac is tuned to the top when it comes to audio production and big files. So what we'll do now is layers 5 through 8 are your keyboard tracks, and you can change these as well, but again, don't change anything in the template that it comes with. Just leave everything as is, and the template that we've laid out is very nice and easy to use. On layer 5, you're going to draw in 2 bars as well. Click, hold, and drag. Okay, now go back to your arrow, and we can just drag this loop node back. If you don't know what that is, I'll show you in a second, but I'm going to drag it back to here. That's just going to enable me to loop just that bit or play the whole track. So I just want to loop that bit. And one other thing I'll note is, for those of you noticing that once you get to the end of your loop, it kind of catches here, or it doesn't go back properly before it loops. You lose your your head nod. Don't worry about it, because when you first build your 2 bars, all you're going to do later is grow your bar count and duplicate them and do what we did here, so you have no problem when it comes to looping, because you don't need to. You have a full track to play with eventually, or just quickly draw in and duplicate so that you have 8 or 16 bars. At least then you can have it pretty much timed for that amount of time. Here you can change this by a BPM or 2. That sometimes relieves the glitch that some of you guys are having, or bringing this back to 120 sometimes makes sure that it loops perfectly as well. But again, I don't really worry about it, because once I have my first bit in, I simply draw in the rest, duplicate, and I don't have to worry about this perfect loop at the beginning. So, going back to the tutorial, we drew in 2 bars, we click on the bar that we just made, we click on edit, this brings up our keyboard editor. And right now, it's on ARP, which sounds great, by the way. You can click on edit, which pulls up this panel, or you can click on P, which pulls up this panel, and this is all your categories. Might be a bit hard to see. Let me close that up. So we drew in our things, we click on P, this pulls up our categories, we can open up each category and then choose something within it. It's a great combination of beautifully mastered stereo image samples. We're on ARP, we open this up again. Now, the Q on the keyboard you type with is this C. Okay, so Q going upwards is that octave. This octave down here is available by pressing the Z or Z going upwards on the keyboard you type on. Okay, so what we can do is, while this is even playing, we can think of what we want to use for a bass line. We can record that as well. So when we click on record and play, we can actually use the keyboard we type on to lay in the notes. Check it out. Stop it, click on your arrow, move them around if you know that they're off, or they should be somewhere else. on a different bit of the 16. Close, holding down shift, click, hold, drag, click, hold, drag, click, hold, drag. So now again, we have 8 bars, put our loop back on, move this back out. We have a simple bass line that we just drew in. Okay, so we can keep going. Go underneath that, click, hold, drag. You're still on the key track. Same thing applies. Click on P, you get all your categories. Kind of like that. We'll just add 1 for the whole 2 bars. Close, and we put that here and just here. By holding down shift, click, hold, and drag. Okay, next. Another one. 2 bars, click, hold, and drag. Click on P, click on, let's say, ethnic. Let's click on detune. Might sound a bit awkward because it is literally detuned, but why not? We can click on pencil and draw the stuff in too. So we can go a little bit complicated at first because you're looking at where to drop the note and you're looking at here to see which note's highlighted and you're making sure that it all makes sense. So take your time with it. There's no rush. Just make sure that the beats sound hot and the patterns you choose are nice. So already, we have a very simple track coming into place. Even though it's 8 bars. Okay, maybe I want to get rid of this guy and this guy. So it's only playing here and here. Another thing I forgot to mention is the tracks down here. These 16 are these 16, and it basically allows you to change the volume of each track, or solo, or mute each track. So if I don't want one of these drum tracks, let's say number 2, I can simply mute number 2, and that'll mute. Let's click record off. Check it out. Okay, what I want to do is make number 7 quieter. What I want to do is unmute number 2 because that sounds really nice. And let's say I want to